Hey guys, day 4. Hope you're having a great day with your family. I've been receiving some pictures online on our class dojo, and I've noticed that some of you have been doing some really awesome things at home. Keep those pictures coming. And today we are going to celebrate the first day of spring. I know that you can see the sunshine behind me, and I have on my shirt that has all of the flowers, the roses, nice colorful roses. And I have a story for you today, and even though it doesn't look like it's very spring time related, it is. It's called The Story of Ferdinand, and it's written by Munro Leaf, and it's actually one of our family favorites. So we read The Dragons Love Tacos last night, which is one of our most our newest family favorite, but this has been one of my favorite books. It was published a long time ago in 1936, so it was published in the past, not the present. And it's just a really great story about taking time to stop and smell the roses. So you can see I've got my roses ready. So let's get started. Ferdinand. Once upon a time in Spain, there was a little bull, and his name was Ferdinand. All the other little bulls he lived with would run and jump and butt their heads together. But not Ferdinand. He liked to sit just quietly and smell the flowers. He had a favorite spot out in the pasture, and it was under an old cork tree. Sometimes his mother, who was a cow, would worry about him. She was afraid he would be lonesome all by himself. "Why don't you run and play with the other little bulls and skip and butt your head?" she would say. But Ferdinand would shake his head. "I like it better here where I can just sit quietly and smell the flowers." His mother saw that he was not lonesome, and because she was an understanding mother, even though she was a cow, she let him just sit there and be happy. As the years went by, Ferdinand grew and grew until he was very big and very strong. Can you see the marks on the tree? It says 1 week, 3 months, 1 year, 2 years. He had grown into a full-size bull in 2 years. All the other bulls who had grown up with him in the same pasture would fight each other all day. They would butt each other and stick each other with their horns. What they wanted most of all was to be picked for a fight at the bullfights in Madrid. It's a very important city in Spain. Madrid is known for their bullfighting. But not Ferdinand. He still liked to just sit quietly under the cork tree and smell the flowers. Do you see his horns now? His last shadow didn't have horns because he was still a baby. One day, 5 men came in with very funny hats. They had to pick the biggest, fastest, roughest bull to fight in the bullfights in Madrid. They look very serious and all very unique. I like their hats. All the other bulls ran around, snorting and butting, leaping and jumping, so the men would think that they were the very, very, very strong and fierce ones, and so that they would pick them. Ferdinand knew that they wouldn't pick him, and he didn't really care. So he went out to his favorite cork tree to sit down. It looks like this time the butterflies are starting to join him. He didn't look where he was. He didn't look where he was sitting. And instead of sitting on the nice, cool grass in the shade, he sat on a bumblebee. Well, if you were a bumblebee and a bull sat on you, what would you do? You would sting him. You would sting him, and that is just what this bee did. Wow, did it hurt? Ferdinand jumped up with a snort. He ran around puffing and snorting, butting and pawing the ground as if he were crazy. Now the bee looks concerned. The 5 men saw him, and they all shouted with joy. Here was the largest and fiercest bull of all, just the one for the bullfights in Madrid. So they took him away for the bullfight. What a day it was. Flags were flying and bands were playing. And all the lovely ladies had flowers in their hair. They had a parade into the bull ring. Ooh, he looks really fancy. And first came the bandoleros with the long, sharp pins with ribbons on them to stick in the bull and make him mad. And next came the picadoras, who rode skinny horses, and they had long spears to stick in the bull to make him even madder. Then came the matador, the proudest of all. He thought he was very handsome, and he bowed to all the ladies. He had a red cape and a sword, and was supposed to stick the bull last of all. Then the bull, and you know who that was, don't you? Ferdinand. They called him Ferdinand the Fierce, and all the bandoleros were afraid of him, and the picadoras were afraid of him, and the matador was scared stiff. Look at their faces. The author did a good job with their expressions. Ferdinand ran to the middle of the ring, and everyone shouted and clapped because they thought he was going to fight fiercely, and butt, and snort, and stick 'em with his horns. But not Ferdinand. When he got to the middle of the ring, he saw the flowers in all the lovely ladies' hair, and he just sat down quietly and smelled. He wouldn't fight and be fierce no matter what they did. He just sat and smelled. And the bandoleers were mad, and the picadoras were madder, and the matador was so mad he cried because he couldn't show off his cape and sword. So they had to take Ferdinand home. And for all I know, he's sitting there still under his favorite cork tree, smelling the flowers just quietly. He is very happy. The end. Now, I love the story of Ferdinand. He's one of my favorite characters because he stays true to himself. He really loves to just sit and watch the world as it goes by, and he takes the time to do the things he loves.